That's a proper striker's goal. You'd be expecting a number 9 to be burying that.
Cristiano Ronaldo will be proud of this.
You should be expecting a number 9. But then for both fullbacks
cross
to combine,
and then watch
header,
this.
exquisite. Yeah, you can't take anything away from that header. And he places it down. Just look at where he directs it. Downwards, and
it will be difficult.
Makes it very, very difficult for him.
Go, Papa.
And you could see him, the goalkeeper crawling, trying to, at least, just make up for the steps he's missed. But then, unfortunately, yes, there wasn't enough power. But yeah, he picked the spot and he just buried it.
Yeah, I mean, great stuff there. And of course, the biggest news of the day, just a few minutes ago, the Black Queens, they've made it to the Women's African Cup of Nations. It wasn't easy. They lost by a goal to nil. To their Namibian counterparts. The match was played in South Africa. It was tough, and they lost narrowly. First defeat for the Black Queens coach, or for the team. They've been doing excellently well, but they've qualified on that rule. 3-2, they qualify on aggregate. The girls have done excellently well. They've been excellent on the road and to qualification. So that's the big news, and we need to congratulate and celebrate that victory. And that, a few words on the women. They've qualified to the AFCON.
Yeah. It didn't come easy. Yes, I know this. They recorded their first defeat under Nora Haptel. Yeah, but then the circumstances under which the defeat came, see, it's a sweet defeat. You would have to take it as it is. It's a sweet defeat. Yeah, to lose to 1-0 and still book a place at the upcoming WAFCON. Yeah, it's great news. This we've always been talking about the fact that this Black Queens team hasn't really faced, any stern test ever since Nora Haptel took over and, she initiated that Operation Volta, stuff. But then I think we've seen something from this Namibia side. At least after they sealed qualification.
They're not bad, huh?
They're not bad. No, we all thought it was going to be a push, a pushover. It was going to be a demolition exercise for the Queens.
Away goal gave them some lifeline. And they realized that, okay, you know what? If we get a goal, then we have a chance.
We all thought, see, they could even go back to Namibia. The game was played in South Africa. At least we could have won away from home.
Yeah,
but see, the narrative, they made it so difficult for the Queens. And you can just imagine hanging on to that 1-goal lead.
Yeah, nervous.
Nervous moments. And especially when we got to know that the Queens were down by halftime. Yeah, it starts raising some concerns.
Yeah.
Can they hold on? Because at home we were able to win by 3-1, and even the goal we considered at home was an own goal. So I think yes, they've put up a fight.
A good lesson, a wake-up call to put things straight.
It's good to be winning, but sometimes it's also good to have some defeat, exactly, because sometimes it makes you go back and reflect on all the performances where the lapses are, where you need to improve and all that. So I believe yes, it's good. We've booked qualification to the next AFCON. The men are going to the AFCON. The women are going to the WAFCON. Yes, it's good. But then going to these tournaments, we come out against powerhouses, the likes of Zambia, the likes of South Africa, Nigeria. So I believe this Namibia test, is something that Nora Haptel and her charges could visit, take a cue from, as they prepare going into the main tournament, which will happen in the middle of next year.
Well done to Nora and the girls. Congratulations. They've made it to the Women's AFCON. Talking about the Women's AFCON, the Men's AFCON will be big, as always. Remember Qatar 2023? My director likes that, tagline, Qatar 2023. I think we'll play that later in the show, just to whip up your enthusiasm and to remind you of what we'll be bringing, especially behind the scenes. And our countdown will begin very soon. AFCON 2023 in Ivory Coast. We'll be going by air, by road, by canoe, by everything. And the countdown has already begun. Favorites, Senegal, definitely defending champions.
Yeah, they'll always be favorites. And looking at, the kind of team they've built now, it will be very, very difficult to mention your favorites and not include the defending champions. It will be so unfair to them. Looking at how, they worked their socks off in the last edition, to win their first ever AFCON title. Yeah, and they're a powerhouse now. You can't mention the top 3 teams to lift the upcoming competition without mentioning Senegal. But then there are other teams as well that we need to be wary of. The likes of Morocco, who are coming with so much talent. Yeah, a lot of players, quality players.
And what they did in Qatar would give them that impetus.
Exactly. No one gave them a chance to,
in that group,
to break that African jinx as far as, the Mondial is concerned. But then they went all the way, finished 4th. For the first time in the history of the continent, no other team has been able to do it.
And they have some pretty tough customers.
They're still adding quality. The likes of Brahim Diaz of Real Madrid, has said that, he will join this Moroccan team going to the AFCON. So already they have quality. The like of Ziyech, you see even the Siri and Co. yeah, they are still adding quality to the quality they have already. And that means that, see, they'll go into the tournament as one of the favorites. Egypt, the 7-time champions, are there. Cameroon are there. Cote d'Ivoire, the host nation, are also there with the likes of Wilfred Zaha, you know.
1963, 1965 Ghana, and then we had to wait 78 and then 82.
And that was the last time.
That was it.
And, you know, Cameroon had won their first title right after we won in 82.
Look
that
at
was
Cameroon,
84.
yeah, they got it twice.
Yeah, so this was
then the
fourth,
North Africans took
one,
over.
And they won again the 5th time. So when we had won
2015, that was a heartbreak for Ghana.
Yeah, I want to remember, you know, what happened in 2015.
I was in a stadium and I couldn't walk.
Oh, yeah, we're all watching at home, and you know, after you take a 2-0 lead in a shootout, you know, where you are looking at, you know, the best of 5 or the first team to finish with, you know, 5 or the best 5, and yeah, you're not able to, you know, to kill the game. You miss the next or subsequent 2. Yeah, it's very tough to take. But then, yeah, that's what football is about. You need to put things in place. You need to put things in order because the game keeps evolving. If you don't take it, you'll be left back.
2006, Ghana eliminated in the first round. Egypt won it at home. That was the year Ghana, of course, went to the World Cup. We had a bad AFCON, but we did it at the World Cup really good. And here, Ghana, we couldn't get it. Pressure.
Yeah, third in
Egypt did it again. And Ghana met Egypt in the final again.
And we lost
Angola,
by a lone goal.
A lone goal. Very painful.
And I think during those times, I think we're very, very consistent with regards to the AFCON. We, you know, our worst finish had to be this Angola, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea.
And then Ghana, South Africa, we got to the, was it the semis?
The semis. In the semis, we lost. And then
got to the finals again.
See,
Anka Ghana, by now, you win it AFCON, but said 8 times.
See, from South Africa 2010 to Equatorial Guinea 2015. Yeah, I think those were the tournaments we enjoyed the most, they experienced the most heartbreaks. Because those were the tournaments we could have walked away with something. We could have made history in those tournaments. But 2017 Gabon, where Cameroon also had to pip Egypt to win it.
And then, of course, you know, the big boys were bouncing back again. The tournaments have been very interesting. And, you know,
the quality.
Senegal have always been knocking, but finally they made it. Now, 2023, who's going to win it? We'll be there.
Yeah, it's a tough call. You look at the teams, you know, that have assembled. We look at, you know, the last edition where we had 24 teams competing, and the shocking results, Algeria bowing out in the group stages, despite the fact that, see, even to some extent, the 3rd best placed team could have sealed qualification. Ghana also bowing out with just a point. Yeah, we've seen in
a group that many felt.
No, you could.
That's when Comoros started misbehaving.
We had Gabon. We had Morocco in that group, and yeah, we still couldn't qualify from that group. After drawing with Gabon, already we had been beaten by Morocco, and we also lost to Comoros. But then, yeah, I think there are some tough teams in there. You know, the host nation, to talk of Cote d'Ivoire, you know, their football project, where they've come, you know, where they've gotten to. The last time they won it was when they beat Ghana in 2015 to win it in Equatorial Guinea. But then, yeah, they go into every tournament as one of the favorites because of the quality they have. And I mentioned Sebastian Heller.
Always pressure on them at home.
Yeah, but you know, when there's not a single, or there's not been a single host nation, who say they play without pressure. It happens everywhere. And we saw it where Cameroon hosted it the last time out, where they also had to play and they missed out. You know, they got kicked out of the competition at the semi-final stage. So it happens to everyone. Whenever you're playing at home, you need not just to impress your fans, but then you also have to go all out and win the trophy, because every country that holds the AFCON, is a potential winner. And that's what these teams know. But for you to go into the tournament, you know, make your way all the way to the semi-final and bow out, sometimes it's very disappointing, but then you don't blame the fans because they've invested a lot. The government has invested a lot into any tournament at all that's been hosted, you know, regardless which country is hosting it. So sometimes you wouldn't fault them. It just comes back. It comes with the pressure, and you have to deliver. Yeah.
No doubt about that. Just a little teaser, of course, on the AFCON, which is coming up in January 13th. It'll kick off. We'll definitely be bringing you behind the scenes. And there's some surprises, you know, because when you talk about the route to Abidjan, it is quite near, go through the western region. And for the beach soccer fans like us, that is our base. There's some corners that we'll introduce you to as we get closer to Ivory Coast itself. And guess what? The Black Stars will be playing in Abidjan. If they qualify, they will remain there throughout the competition. So that's another incentive for the Black Stars of Ghana. Watch out for the countdown and also little snippets of teasers behind the scenes, which makes it absolutely different. We will definitely bring you the color, the ambience, and everything else you want from the AFCON. Okay. Back to the Ghana Premier League. It's a big weekend, as I said. We've already talked about Asante Kotoko. We'll, go in depth on that. They won just 24 hours ago against Berekum Chelsea. Interesting game. But if you take a look at the results from week 13, it's very interesting. A week around that the away teams really dominated, not just by performances, but the score lines. Really dominant performances by the away teams. I think that has broken the myth about, at home. Just Kotoko and Adriana, one at home.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can see it. When the league started, I think we went the first 3 game weeks without recording a single away win until it was Media that traveled to Berekum to Chelsea, to get the very first away win of the season. But then match week 13, and already out of 7 games, there's been 5 away wins, and that's quite huge because we've spoken about the fact that this league, has been dominated. Whenever a side is playing at home, they always find a way to win games. But then with the exception of Adriana Stars, who beat Heart of Oak by 1-0, that Bright J goal, and also Kotoko, Stephen Mukwala getting that goal against Berekum Chelsea. Yeah, 5 away victories, and that's quite huge. And we need to, give kudos to those away teams because they have to put a lot in place. And the biggest victors on the week or in the week, happened to be Bechem United, who travelled all the way up north to beat Kerala United by 4-2, which is quite huge, especially looking at the fact that they've dropped points in their previous game against Gold Stars when they played at home. And there you can see it. Augustine Okra was on the double on the day, and I believe it's huge for them. It's not just, if you really want to stake a claim, to win the Ghana Premier League, it's not just about being consistent at home, but it's also about grinding results away from home. And most of these teams are managing to find ways to do it. And if you look at the table, the teams that are yet to win or even get a point away from home, are the struggling sides in the league. All the teams that are up there, the likes of Indiana, Samatex, Inswatreman, who have managed to get some good wins on the road against Berekum Chelsea and just recently at Ghost.
At worst, half of your matches.
Yeah.
And these teams are doing that. Apart from Pando Heart of Lions, who do not have...
because technically they are not playing at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've not won a single game.
They've not won a single game. That makes it even difficult for them. And, as things stand now, you look at the table and you can clearly say, if things do not change with Pando Heart of Lions, we are not, naysayers or whatever you choose to call it. But then, it looks like relegation is just calling for them. It's calling because you can see where they are. And they will have to win 2 games to leapfrog any of the teams above them. 2 games. With the other 2 or with the other teams not winning any games at all. And that's where they find themselves. Yes, they've got an outstanding game. But
we need to look at the record books and statistics. Shaban will tell you that, look, 12 games played and you've not won a single one. It doesn't. I mean, look, no matter how
it doesn't pay well for them.
The issue of not playing at home is at least 1 or 2 wins away from home should be something that is manageable. Yes, they've got a couple of games in hand. Just a game in hand. But 8 points means that even with a win, they would have to pray that Karela and BBN Gold Stars also lose. Yeah. And then they have to win another game.
So that they have to win twice.
Minimum 3 games to get out of.
Yeah, to get themselves
points.
out of the red zone. But you ask yourself, does it come that easy? And I really struggle to find what exactly is wrong with Heart of Lions. I don't know if it has to do with recruitment because they've got a very good gaffer, in Fatal. He's been a very, very good gaffer ever since he joined them. But then, it's a different ballgame when you are playing in the Premier League. You need to know that the standards are very, very high. You need to play above your weight. We saw Kotoko Royals last season, how they struggled, playing at Cape Coast, playing here. But then when they settled at Deu, that was when they realized that, we are just late to the party. We could have done better than we did in the league. And, they had some decent results at home, even against the Diana Stars, that 1-1 draw they played over there. So I believe maybe Heart of Lions, that's the time for them to start asking the questions. The
coach is a good coach. There's no doubt about it. The coach has done a great job.
He's doing great.
In the lower division. Yeah. Is there even a thought that, you've done well, you're great, but we need to change things around? Has that ever been on the table for Pando Heart of Lions? Should it be on the table?
We've seen the casualties with regards to coaches and the teams that are sacking coaches now. We've seen Gold Stars who have asked their coach to take a leave. We've seen Heart of Oak part ways with their head coach. We've seen Frimpong Manso, also part ways with
Frimpong Mansour's is an interesting one.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, but then
based on poor performances.
Yes, but then they still parted ways with him. So it's one. Yeah, so it's so part. Maybe it could be based on results. We not getting the results at home, because for some time they were struggling to win at home, and even after he left, they still lost at home.
Look at them now.
Yeah. So yeah, and to think about the fact that Heart of Lions, we've not heard anything. Not even a pin drop about if the coach will be sacked or not. It means maybe the management are still okay with what he's doing.
The investors will be betting on who to be sacked or who to be, what's the word, to proceed on leave or step aside kind of thing. But out of all these, I think the most controversial has been Martin Koopman. There's no doubt about it.
Of course.
He's been talking.
Yeah, he's been talking after.
And he's still talking. And the thing is, it's his word against the management or it's his word against the board. And people are asking, why would he make such wild allegations when he's no more there? It wouldn't bring him back.
Maybe.
What is his motive?
Maybe.
Or is he telling the truth?
Yeah, there's a lot at stake here. One has to do with, his integrity, his credibility as a person, as a human. Okay, because after he left, there were some rumors, through the grapevine that, he just wasn't good enough. He had issues here and there and all that. And he also felt like, yes, I'm no more with the club. Maybe I need to
clear my name.
I need to clear my name, my innocence, everything there is to clear. I need to do it. And I believe that's the reason why he goes around, just saying things he needs to say. But then on the part of Heart of Oak, I don't think it's even right for them to, respond to those allegations.
I was just about to ask, in terms of communications, branding, media, some of these allegations perhaps are best left to...
unsaid, especially if it's
they're
a
not
former
true.
employee.
But then you'd also think if they don't address it, the fans might be thinking Koopman is telling the truth. But Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo has been speaking. He's addressed some of the issues. Let's listen to a little bit of what he has to say.
As part of our efforts to reform the team, a coach in the person of Martin Koopman was recruited to help change the fortunes of the club. But unfortunately, as you may all be aware by now, we parted ways with him along the line. As a board, we believe in working in sync with the technical team as an effective way of achieving results. Similarly, we believe in working closely with our supporters to help achieve results. This is why we often hold meetings with the technical team and representatives of the supporters to discuss and find the best ways of pushing the club forward.
We are very disappointed because, as I said, we thought with him, with his experience, the problem we have identified, because when you look at Hearts of Oak, now, everything is in place for the club to be successful. Everything is in place for the club to be successful. Hearts of Oak players who have not traveled abroad before are building houses. They are buying cars. The players are well paid. We look at their welfare. I mean, I recall a video which was circulated just before the season. House of Oak players arriving at their hostel where they were driving cars. And we think that we have everything in place, which is necessary in any endeavor. So we thought that the software issue which were missing, Koopman will come. So definitely, that's why we signed 3 years with him. We intended to really go the long haul with him. But it's unfortunate, in life these things happen. So we are disappointed, but we have to move on. We have to continue to learn from it and to make sure that we steer the club to the expectations that people have.
We all witnessed this afternoon. There's been a press conference by the club, and it is to update our followers or our supporters on the current happenings of the club. In recent times, we have read and also listened to some unfortunate comments from our former coach, Martinus Koopman, which we needed to clear the air and then set the record straight for everybody gets to know that indeed all of the things that he's alleging, these are not true and they should not be taken serious, because as a club, we don't do that. We don't believe in any of those things that he is alleging against the board of directors of the club. Let me use this opportunity to appeal to every Phobian that the club deserves our support. The club needs our support. Let's continue to support the club. Where we find ourselves, it is togetherness. It is the support that we are going to enjoy together that will certainly push the club. If every single individual believes that, look, all of the effort, the financial push and everything that the board has put in, what we also deserve to do as fans is to continue to offer this club the support, continue to offer the board the necessary support so that the direction that they are taking us will be able to get there, and certainly we'll all be happy once again as a family.
So key stakeholders of the phobia, we've seen the two goalkeepers there, or the two number 1 and 2 goalkeeper for the club. Hearts of Oak, as you've heard, they believe everything is in place for the team to be successful and to be winning. It's not happening. So the question the fans are asking is, what must change? And I don't know what must change. What hasn't changed in the last decade or so? Players have come and gone, coaches have come and gone, but there's one aspect that hasn't really changed much. But if you address it, people take it personally. They don't like to be put on the spot because they take it as if you're attacking their personality.
No, but yeah, we keep on changing as humans. Change is part of, of life, and all these things you talk about. Players come and go, coaches come and go, and all that. But what hasn't changed in the past decade for Hearts of Oak? It's just one thing. I think it has to do with management. We've not really seen a clear change of management with regards to who is supposed to lead a club. The hierarchy, who is where, who reports to who.
Togbe has been doing a great job.
No, he's the bankroll of the club. We understand that. But then,
and he's put people in place to execute his vision.
At those positions, are they doing what needs to be done? Has there been any drastic changes?
But they won a double, was it treble?
Yeah,
just 3 seasons ago.
Yes, but then who was the man who led them to winning those trophies? He's no more there, and most of the fans are still crying that, see, we don't know why that man was sacked. The person is Samuel Boyd. Why was Samuel Boyd sacked? Perhaps he could be the best person to lead this team.
He should do a second coming.
See, the team went almost more than a decade without laying their hands on the Ghana Premier League title until Samuel Boyd came in, won back-to-back FA Cup trophies, won the Super Cup, won the President's Cup, and won them the league as well. He won as many as 5 trophies in just in an 18-month span. So that's quite a huge achievement. But then after what happens, the season starts, a round of poor results, and then they just ask him, they just part ways with him. But then ever since he left, ask yourself, have the club been at its best? Again, no. So like you're saying, people might take it personal, but no, it's not about taking it personal. See, it's about the fans' outcry. It's about, getting the fans what they want. It's about winning games for the fans. And if that has to happen, then it means that some sacrifices needs to take place. If not, I don't see how Hearts of Oak can bounce back to the Hearts of Oak we've known them to be 20 years ago.
Josiah, someone saying, don't blame Togbe, don't blame the board, don't blame management, blame the fans. Why? Because these fans went to the training and they forcibly removed the coach, and they were very happy about it. And they had support. Nobody, within the club officially took them on. So why are the fans now complaining?
Well, if you're asking me to blame the fans after that incident happened...
No, that's a school of thought. That's what some people are saying.
I'm saying that if you're asking
and the fans threatened to actually go and evict Koopman.
See, if you're asking me to blame the fans, they come in down. I just don't know how to lay the blame on the doorsteps of the fans. I just don't know how to put it.
What next? We're hearing about another foreign coach being brought in. You've heard about that?
Yeah, I've also heard about it.
Oh, Boydou's coming. I saw Boydou in Kumasi, met him, and we had a chit-chat
with him.
And he said nobody has spoken to him.
Probably,
yes, officially.
Maybe probably he's not heard anything. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they are not even considering bringing back someone like Boydou. And some fans also think, see, this is a local league we are playing. This is a Ghana Premier League where some of these players, come from lower divisions and all that. So why don't you employ a locally based coach who at least has a fair knowledge of, of the league and the terrain? But instead, they are...
That's one thing about them. But they're still not happy. Their fans are not happy.
No, they've fallen off the pecking order for some time.
But listen, if Hearts beat Kotoko on Sunday, would it not be back to? They don't say BRCA.
How many times haven't we heard that from Hearts of Oak when they won at home, when they beat Accra Lions recently? We heard them saying, "See, they are back," and now they go into the match week 14 fixture against Asante Kotoko, with contrasting forms. Because now Kotoko have won their last 4 games in all competitions. 3 in the league, 1 in the FA Cup. convincing results for them. But you can't say the same about Hearts of Oak, who lost to Nanya FC in the round of 64 of the MTN FA Cup. They've not been able to win their last 4 games in the league or 3 games in the league. Yeah, so these are contrasting forms. And yes, you can talk about the fact that these games do not count on form or who is playing the better football and so on and so forth. But yeah, trust me, if you look on paper, recent form, quality, yeah, taking into account and also factoring every single thing that a team needs to go into a football game, yeah, you clearly say that Kotoko are favorites to win the game this weekend.
Even though they're not in form.
No, but they're playing some exciting football.
Yeah,
they're on a 4-game winning streak in all competitions. Hearts have not won any game in their last 4 games.
That's dangerous for Kotoko to be favourites ahead of this game, because that's when Hearts of Oak would love to show them
the underdog card.
Good.
But yes, it's good to play the underdog card, but this is reality. And also, to add to that, Kotoko are still playing at their favourite backyard. Their favourite grounds.
Kumasi is actually a good hunting grounds for Accra as a folk.
Are we going to play that card?
Well, anyway. Anyway, let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll actually give you the chance to also get involved in the conversation. But let's go for a break. We'll be back in just a second.
GPL headquarters.
The best in online games is here. Lucky Win Ghana. If we say Sika Wofia, Nije Wofia. This year, dear, it's your chance to chop big. So play any of our games such as Super Spin, Classic Roulette, Penalty Shootout, Slot 777, Crash Games, and more at www.luckywin.com.gh. With a minimum of 1 Ghana cedis, you stand a chance to win instant cash prizes up to 1 million Ghana cedis on your phone. Plus, you can withdraw your cash prizes at any time of the day. So hurry now, because Mr. Money know they waste time. Lucky Win, play with less, chance to win big. This advert has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, only for persons 18 years and above. Gaming can be addictive.
Upgrade to Star Times Mega.
Say, yes, my name is Papa Star Time. Now, package here. It is a Star Times Mega Bouquet for Fronabano. Now, Mega Bouquet way. There were over 250 satellite channels. Oh yeah, you be baby was well feeling. Say sports, novella, movies, quality and educative documentaries. And then you can be brave. When you now 150 Ghana cedis per. Hey, for Papa. Bro, your way. Start times, person will feeling mega. And until from now to the 31st of January 2024, Star Times Mega Step Up promo no cost wangaza. Now promo way, so chia for 2 good months of any Star Times bouquet. You better upgrade you for the next bouquet for 2 good months free viewing. One idea when you are bushia, move really mega angaza.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
GPL headquarters.
Goal you'd ever see. It looked like Mukwala assisted himself. I mean, he didn't mean to do that. But if you watch that goal again, how did he score that goal? I mean,
no, yeah, for a player of his status,
he assisted himself.
You'd be thinking, see, the first time of asking, he should have buried that. But then I think he miscues it. But then he realizes, no, I have to finish what I started.
Oh, yeah, striker.
Yeah, that's, instinctively you could see what he did over there, because, he really calmly tried to find the back of the net at the first attempt. But then after he hit that ball, he realized he was going wayward. So he had to do the follow-up. But then in the process, you could see what happened between himself and the defender, with the defender also going down, trying to claim that he's been fouled in the process. But then, every goal is a good goal once it ends up at the back of the net and also wins the team the maximum points. Yeah, it's a good goal. And I think Mukwala is in some top form now. Yeah, you look at how he's been consistent for Kotoko in the last 4 games since that victory at Sogakope where they won against Legon Cities, where he had a hand in all the goals they scored, to the Nations FC game, to this one. I think he's been in some, top form. And I think that's the player they were missing. This is the Mukwala they were missing. And it's also about, that synergy, the telepathy between himself and the young guys around him. Peter Amidwakwa, Babayaya, and also Isaac Opong. I think he's really enjoying the partnership of these players. Yes, you'd say Carlo Otara has had his moments for Kotoko, but his partnership with Mukwala hasn't been the best. But then you talk about the young chaps, the young boys who come on, and help him. It looks like they play with the same kind of, pace and energy. And I believe he's really enjoying that one. And that's one of the reasons why he's already, banking in the goals for Kotoko.
There's a little bit of a worry because Kotoko were in a couple of matches, good streak. I think when they beat Accra Lions, they followed up with another win. Yeah. And suddenly the fans thought this was it. And then 3 defeats, they went backwards, So some want to see how the phobia test will be met, and then they can have their judgments on Kotoko.
Well, I think you look at the 4 games they've played in that span after their last defeat, to was it James FC at home, and the kind of football performances and results, they've churned out. I think those are bigger tests. It's nothing compared to the Hearts of Oak rivalry, the game, the tempo, everything, the ambience and everything. But then, you look at the games they've played. They played Mediama, where they won at home. They traveled to Sogakope to beat Legon Cities by 3-1. They played Ashanti Regional Derby against Nations FC in the FA Cup, round of 64, where they won by 4-2. And now they've beaten Brecon Chelsea, a team that were unbeaten in their last 5 games in the top flight. These are enough tests for any team at all going into a crunch derby against Hearts of Oak. And you look at the games they've played so far. Yes, we would say form guide, everything doesn't really count when Hearts faces Kotoko, when Kotoko travel or Hearts of Oak travel to the Barbarians to play against Kotoko Bayal. I think going into this game, Kotoko fans are more confident than Hearts of Oak fans. Why? Because they know their team is playing some exciting football. See, they are playing with just 2 natural defenders in Henry Ansu and also Yusuf Nuruddin. But they are getting the results because even Justice Blay, he has turned up on a number of occasions whenever they've needed him. This is a player who used to play as a defensive midfielder. Naturally, that's his role. Anytime he's being played out of position is at the centre-back position. Enoch Morrison has been given some advanced role. Richmond Lamptey, is just creating goals for fun. So it looks like everywhere, the whole team is taken. And it looks as that dual, roles these players have been given. Because you have Justice Blay playing as a makeshift right back and also a right centre back when they play with a 3-back system. You have Richmond Lamptey who can play as a CM and also as a number 10. And you have the 4 forwards, interchanging positions every now and then. So it looks like they have the balance and they have the momentum on their side as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, you can get in on the conversation. 024-210-4531, and you can tell us what's on your mind. 024-210-4531. And I know Hearts fans have a different view as to what's happening with the club, and most think the coach was beginning to turn things around. Others were like, no, we had to get rid of him. The coach wasn't good. But team that beat Midiama, who was in charge of that team?
Yeah, it was the coach.
And it was one of their best performances.
Best performances, yeah. I think that was the beginning of, the current run we are seeing. So maybe at that point the fans were not too convinced about the performances of the club. But then, after
it takes time.
Yeah, but then, when you have all these internal fights, all these things happening within the club, sometimes it distorts the growth, of the team, the development of these players, because it affects them not just, it affects them psychologically, to some point. So I believe maybe after, all these confusion, everything just died off. It looks like the players are beginning to enjoy what they are doing now, because Now you hear a player being called a politician, a coach, treating some players, as his favorites and all that. Yeah, it doesn't really help. It doesn't really help at all. But then now you can see what they are doing now. It looks like everyone, is loving the new environment. They are loving the atmosphere now. Yeah, and everyone is giving their best.
Okay, so let's go on to the lines. And from Ofankor, we have Kweku Eje. Hi, Kweku. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello, good evening. Yes, let's hear from you.
I hope you are all doing well.
Very, very well.
I like watching your program because of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Anytime I just want to watch Max TV just to hear you speaking. The way you speak about football, you are very good.
Thank you very much. All right. Okay, what's your contribution?
With past issue. You see, we are mentioning about 5 agents here. Fans, board, and the players. You see, everything, one is getting apart from the head. So for me, I believe the board is the major problem. So if they can change their way of maybe fixing players, controlling everything the way they want it, and not allowing people to add or input into what they do, it will be like that. I was watching their press conference. Nobody will accept everything you speak against that person. Whenever you are being like they accuse you, you try to defend yourself. Is that right? So that is what they can do. But those who sit outside will know exactly what is happening. For me, I see the problem here with us is the board and the management. If they do their things well, players are not that the problem. Because you have control over the players. You have control over the coach. So if nothing is working, then you don't have much control over you. You are rather the problem. So the management, the board should work in a way said they can improve everything about us.
Okay.
And I congratulate Mediama. They are winning my heart towards their team. They are doing very well.
Sure.
They should keep it up. Their play is even better than Black Stars. The way Mediama are playing, with even LRE, they are better than even our own Black Stars. And that is the way we want the Black Stars to play, as the Mediamans are doing.
Right.
That is it. Though they have 3 goals in their net, but the way they play, everybody congratulated them. And I know their next match, they are going to win. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, on the top subject of media, of course, the prize is, gate fees, 10 CDs, 20, and then the VIP 100. They also, it's business, football, but they've reduced it to 10 CDs, which is quite reasonable, I would imagine, in these circumstances.
Especially after they won the hearts of the Kumasi faithful.
And they'll go back to watch.
Yeah.
Not only did they win,
they gave them an exciting, they gave them an exciting game. Then after, they just slashed the prices. It's like a double win for me, and that's one of the best things they've done.
Absolutely.
Moses Amapaka, I commend him for that, because at least even if they had 20,000, we would be expecting 40,000, because now it's half the price of that initial amount they paid when they played Belouizdad.
Yeah, big weekend coming up, as we keep saying. Of course, on Friday it's Bidiama against Yanga from Tanzania. Saturday, Abraham Kesse, it's Nations versus Adriana. Sunday, it's Kotoko Hearts. Well, actually, it's Hearts at home. So Hearts, Kotoko on Sunday. Big weekend coming up. Let's tell us what's on your mind. 024 210 4531. 024 210 4531. And let's hear from you. So Midiama will be in action. Dreams travel to Angola.
To Angola,
Big weekend. If they're able to get wins,
huge weekend.
The Ghanaian contingent take a step closer.
When both teams entered the competition, everyone was asking if they had enough quality, to make it to the money zone. Now they are in the money zone and they feel they can do more. It looks like they have this desire to get going and achieving more things. And now they look at, after 2 games, each team is looking at the possibility of advancing to the next round, which is very, very possible, especially for Dreams FC. Looking at how Academica Lobito, are not playing so well, or they've lost their 2 games. And all they have to do now is to go to Angola and get a decent result. And I believe a decent result could be a win, especially after Club African went there to win.
All right. That is not the number on the screen. It's all right. Okay. So Daniel, sorry about that. Getting confused there. Daniel, good evening. Let's hear from you.
Good evening, Mr. Ampofo.
What's up, Daniel?
By the grace of God, we are in.
Great. Okay, yeah, let me hear. Let's hear from you, Daniel.
You're ready.
Maintain our cry. Maybe I want to network no end, yeah. But yeah, another option 055-846-2088, and I say 024-210-4531. Yeah, 024. All right, Sam. Hi. Good evening, Sam. As you saying.
Hey, I am well.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a network today, but it's not. I can't really hear you too well. Sorry about that. All right, Sam, are you there? Okay. Yeah, there's that. So it's a big weekend. Hearts of Oak are saying that they are going to Kumasi to start their season. You can't disagree, or you can.
You can agree with them. You can disagree. You can, depending on where you stand, you know. But then, yeah, their season has been, you know, marked by some inconsistencies. That has been the problem for both teams. And now, you know, Kotoko even find themselves 3 points ahead of Hearts of Oak, which, you know, some 3-4 game weeks back, you wouldn't have even, you know, predicted that. It's just the league is about being consistent because, you know, the more you try, you struggle. Teams are trying to, you know, pull away from you.
Okay, George, it's saying good evening. Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, good evening. It's saying George Yankasa.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I'm fine. How are you too?
Great. Let's listen to you.
Yeah, sure. The GP have been super. You have been great. Yeah, so far. You're covering it and commenting everything is super. The Ghana football is great. House of Hope and House of Hope have been fighting for some time, but I believe that with time things are going to be all right. As we had a massive money, they so much money, and but they're not seeing the result we desire. I wish House of Hope the best of luck.
All right. That was interesting. I said, oh, my son, he's a House of Oak fan, no doubt about it. 1911. Wow. The oldest club in Ghana, one of the oldest clubs in Africa, actually. And on Sunday, the Babayara Sports Stadium should be bursting, as it seems. So what you're planning for the weekend, don't forget to put your, if you're in Accra, your transport to Kumasi and back, and then obviously your ticket to watch the match. Clement, good evening. How are you, Clement?
Oh, it's been a long time I heard from you.
Yep. Let's hear from you. We want to hear from you, Clement.
Last I spoke to you about we those at Nungwa Barrier watching television.
Right.
Yeah. We are the Kotoko fans, we are saying Sunday coming, we are going to beat us. So we want you to be there so that you come and telecast the match from there. We the Kotoko fans. So we are inviting all the Hearts of Oak fans to come to Nungwa Barrier.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was it. I mean, I know the action is in Kumasi, but you want them to come to Nungwa Barrier where they watch it, you know, on start times. Anyway, our time is up. Time goes so quickly, you know, it flies by so fast. Big thanks to Josiah Okokwe. We'll be bringing you all the latest as the countdown continues. And on Thursday, we'll definitely be in the camp of Hearts and Kotoko to bring you the latest from 3 going. Well done to the Black Queens of Ghana for qualifying to the Women's AFCON. Aiko to them. It's left for the Black Stars. Remember, they will be in Ivory Coast, and we will be bringing you the countdown, especially behind the scenes of the diary. All right, take care for now. Bye-bye.